Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. This video is actually coming out a little bit later than I wanted it to, because it took me a few minutes to actually calm down. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't like crashing out or rage baiting or anything like that, but I wanted this video to be, I didn't want it to be negative. And there are people in this episode that, the word vex comes to mind. We'll start off with Brook Lynn and Chase and Tracy. See, Tracy is having a lovely morning. She is laughing at Drew's debacle and, praising Lulu for her coverage. Now, of course, this does not sit well with Brook Lynn, who essentially acts like a goddamn 16-year-old little girl, throws a temper tantrum because she felt that Tracy was giving her too much compliments, and storms off. Chase, the pathetic male that he is, decides to sit there and chase after her. Talks about the article, right? And how she's beating me over the head with it. She's torturing me and wah, 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 wah. Me. This is all she's doing at this point, right? Chase, who I used to actually like, has turned into what I like to call Brook Lynn's personal lapdog. See, essentially, she has what I like to call a bit of a Jada Pickett attribute to her, who generally turns reasonable, logical men into empty husks, right? It's like she has this effect over him. The first time he came at Lulu, and he essentially abused his badge and threatened to arrest her, right? So Danny and Rocco apparently made a mess. And so Dante is like, listen, you're going to go to the boathouse. You're going to sit there and clean up your mess. And then we'll take you to the Woodchucks game. So Yuri, unseen, draws him over there. Chase decides to stomp his heels, go to Dante, and practically start raging out at him to get Lulu, in check. Saying that she's writing an article and me and her are, she's very sensitive to the topic because, we're trying to adopt a baby and, it's causing my wife distress. Dante sat there and looked at him like, so let me get this straight. She's essentially doing her job, writing an article, and your pathetic wife has a problem with that? Like, honestly, tell you the truth, if I was Dante, and I know Dante and Brook Lynn have this relationship or whatever, but I'm like, yo, how about you tell your wife to sit there and put on her big girl pants and stop acting so goddamn oversensitive? Because granted, yes, he doesn't know what's going on. But if you was to sit there and say that to any other person, they would have sat there and looked at him like, what's his goddamn mind? I don't know what universe. And he actually explains there was 3 articles that she had to pick from. First of all, I'm just like, why the hell do you feel that you need to explain to him about what Lulu's job is? Lulu's doing her goddamn job. Okay? And your wife does not get to sit there and dictate what she does. That is absolutely maddening. So I'm just like, oh, she's causing my wife distress. So what? So what? What are you going to do about it? This is what I'm sitting there talking about when I sit there and say that the Jada Pickett effect. So he leaves, and Dante has a talk with her a little bit. And it seems like it's going to get a lot heated in tomorrow's episode. Now, before then, Lulu was getting questioned by Laura, like, yo, what is this really about? And she tells the secret without actually telling the whole secret. Right? She doesn't include any names. She's just like, somebody doesn't know about this adoption. And, essentially Cynthia's saying, I want to sit there and tell them this. Like I said, she doesn't go into specifics. Laura Laura is actually practically very gentle, but she's like, you have to really think long and hard before you start playing God with other people's lives. And she's like, well, I'm not playing God. I'm not trying to play God. I'm like, and then she's like, well, what should I do? I'm like, what do you mean what you should do? Chase and Brook Lynn has been sitting there telling you, you need to drop this, you need to let this go, you need to leave this alone. And essentially, your mother is sitting there telling you the same goddamn thing. It's not your business. It's not your story. Okay? And on some level, as much as I do not like Brooklyn, and I really do not like Brooklyn, I cannot stress that enough. I understand that while some of the stories, when Lou was not there talking about, was you happier knowing who your birth parent was? That might be the case with some people. But as Laura has sat there and said, that's not it for everyone. And what Brooklyn does not want is to cause any distress or anything like that to who her, to her child in a sense, or her damn near grown up is, because that can be very jarring. And I give her credit for that. And that's the part where it's like Lulu does not understand. It's none of her damn business, in a sense. And even though she tries to do the whole Rocco thing and a half brother, at the end of the day, boo, you know that this is wrong. And you know you do not have to actually do this. And she keeps into trying to make excuses. She's like, well, it's everyone's secret. Well, isn't, because it's also my secret, don't I have a right to sit there and share it? No. What the it's like, it's like she keeps trying to justify reasons for doing something that she knows that's wrong. You got that going on. You got Drew banging on the door, like a goddamn wild man. Willow answers the door. Willow essentially reams him out. I know what I saw. This, that, and the third. You cheated on me. Da 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 da. She's all angry and upset, right? And to me, it's laughable. It is absolutely laughable. There's a part where she's like, you're gonna cause me to sit there and lose my kids. You kind of did that to yourself, though, right? You did that to yourself. Let's just be real honest for a hot minute. Michael forgave you the first time that you kissed somebody. And that is way, 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 way more than what I don't know if I can do. Did you not forget who Michael is? Like, seriously, did you not forget that he is part of two powerful families? Most women would have just been like, all right, let me not do that, because this man can sit there and wreak havoc on my goddamn life. Wreak havoc. But then you decide to get into a full-blown affair. Straight up. Right? You're prancing around with this man on Valentine's Day, and the divorce papers aren't even, going through or anything. Nina was like, don't do this. And now you're sitting there whining and complaining. Oh, you can make me lose my kids. What? Are you kidding me right now? Like, this is a joke, right? I'm like, that man literally sat there and gave you the world. And you did not give two flying shits about him. In reality. No matter how much you sit there and say you do. But you want to sit there and stand there and start yelling at Drew for something that you did. Like, what? Nina was just irritating throughout this whole part, constantly interjecting, constantly sitting there trying to reassure her or to push her, manipulating the shit out of her, and basically like, well, you're a scumbag, you did this, you hurt her, you did this in the room, there was video footage. She just kept going on and on and on. So finally Drew's like, listen, I can prove this. We can sit there and do a blood test. Let's go to the hospital right now. And Willow's like, fine. Now, I have a strong feeling, and we all can kind of guess where this is going to. Nina's going to sit there and call. Nina's going to sit there and call Portia. And Portia's going to sit there and get Brad to change the results. And then Drew's going to look like an idiot, right? They're going to drag this out for a hot minute until the truth comes out. And that's going to be amazing. Because at that point, Drew's going to still have to take a hit. Okay? Because he did sit there and lie to her. He was banging Mom Dukes and lying to her face. So he's still going to have to take a hit. But you know what? It'll be worth it to sit there and get that smug smile off of Nina's face. That will be amazing. Um. Also, towards the end, Brook Lynn did apologize to Tracy, and they still get into it, right? Because Tracy's like, I don't understand, like, what's your issue with Lulu? You're a grown ass adult now. You're doing your own thing. You're married and everything like that. Why can't she just have her life? Why can't she just do her own thing? And of course, Brook Lynn goes below the belt because that's just the maturity level of this woman, of this girl. I'm not going to call her a woman. Berkeley says, you only really love her, or whatever, because she's the last link to Luke, which was completely out of pocket. But I've come to expect very low things about this woman, this girl. Anyway, she gets so angry that she actually blurts out her secret. She blurts out her secret about her being pregnant in high school, and Lulu is sitting there holding up my head. Okay? If you're so upset about it, then why don't you sit there and come clean? Why don't you come clean? If you're so upset about her holding this over your head and torturing you and whoa, 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 poor me, then why don't you sit there and put on your big girl pants and tell the truth? Yeah. She can't do that. No, of course. So, that's pretty much where it ends. Now, the rest of this episode, Danny convinces Rocco to go to a party. They don't really hang out. They don't spend that much time together because, Lulu decided that she wanted what she wanted, and Rocco's living with Lulu. But he's like, I don't know. He's more of the good boy in a sense, and Danny's more of the rebel. And you can see in the next episode, he's going to try to get him to drink, to fit in and everything. So, there's going to be that, and that's going to be interesting. Not the underage drinking part, but the fallout, because Lulu's going to be pissed off at Danny and somehow take it out on Jason, who has the patience of a goddamn saint in some of these situations. Also, Gia was not there talking to Tracy. Just another part about how, Gia was like, well, Jason told me the truth, and Sonny was not there doing this to save Ava's life, and Tracy was like, yeah, he said that so he could sit there and justify what Sonny did. At the end of the day, it just kind of surprises me because I'm like, you can't be this stupid in a sense. Like you can't. I understand that he wants to sit there and focus on more of the positive stuff that Sonny does, but that does not mean that like you haven't heard stories or anything like that, or use your brains and common sense to be like, how did he really get to the top? But I think he just wants to believe that until he can't believe that anymore. It's almost. It's not as bad as Christine and there witnessing Sunny beat the living hell out of Dex, and then like, oh my god, I can't believe you're so violent. Like, really? Really, bro? Like, you grew up with Sunny in a sense. You know who he is. Let's not do that. Kai is heading into surgery. Trina's there to support. Um, Emma's outside waiting, to support her. Also, tonight they're doing the project along with Jocelyn, right? So, not much I'm gonna really give this whole scene. There's one part where I guess Trina doesn't want to sit there and be video filmed, but she already signed the release form. So Emma and Jocelyn stand next. I mean, sit next to her, so this way that she can't be filmed. I guess they're. I don't know what this moment is. Okay, let me just sit there and say this. They were there for her when she didn't want to be filmed. Okay, fine, girl power, whatever. But part of me just kind of sat there, was like, I thought y'all was supposed to be hanging out with her throughout the surgery or whatever. But then both of them just kind of leave her there by herself, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know why that just rubbed me the wrong way, but it was just like, y'all really. I mean, here's the thing with Emma don't know Trina that much. So I can kind of give her somewhat of a pass. She was there with her for a little bit to support and everything. That's cool. She has something else to do. I get it. Jocelyn, what the You're gonna sit there and talk to Vaughn about that a little bit later on afterwards, or text Vaughn or something, that same plan. You had to sit there and leave this girl by herself. You know damn well if the roles were reversed, she would have stayed with you. She would have stayed with you to the end. So it was something about that whole scene that just rubbed me the wrong way. And Laura had to wind up sitting with her. And I guess it was supposed to be some sort of cute and heartwarming moment. But like, seriously? I don't know. It didn't sit right with me. But on the positive side, I was right. I love being right. I mean, come on, let's be honest. We all kind of saw this coming, but I still love being right. And that, of course, is that Jocelyn and Smith, they're talking to Vaughn. Long story short, Emma got done. She saved the project on a I don't know, like file or whatever, right? And so Jocelyn's plan is to take that file, copy it, corrupt her file, and well, essentially just take credit for it so this way she can get the position. Because I knew that was going to want to happen. I knew she was going to have to sit there and sabotage Emma to get that position, and I was right. So, what else wound up happening in this episode? I feel like that's pretty much about it. Yeah, I feel like for the most part that's it. Now, there might have been a little bit of knickknacks or whatever that I'm pretty sure that I missed. But that is my general gist, my thoughts on this episode. Now, tonight I'm not actually going to be live streaming. I'm going to like take an actual rest day. But I will be back tomorrow. Though. Usual time, talking about all 5 of the soap operas. And yeah, we're going to have fun tomorrow. We're going to have fun tomorrow. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. Anything I miss, what's your thoughts on this episode and all that stuff. And I will see you on next stream and video.